Traveling to Consciousness, exploring spiritual journeys to find answers in uncertainty.
What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome back to another episode of Traveling to Consciousness. As always, I'm your host, Clayton Cuteri. Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about last week in review from a news perspective, give you guys what I feel like is probably the top headlines that you should at least be remotely aware about, and then we'll kind of dive into, towards the end of the podcast, the specific issues that I am most passionate about. And in this past week, there's a lot of stuff revolving around Gaza and the genocide that's occurring there that I feel is very poignant, I hope I'm using that word correctly, to call out. Now, the first couple things that are high level, maybe not a huge deal, but something to be aware of, is that Trump did engage in a Middle East diplomacy and kind of like a Gulf alliance tour over the last week. If you remember, famously, Trump announced renaming Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, and he decided to do some sort of decision where he wanted to rename the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Gulf. I'm personally not too aware of the significance or the implications of something like that in regards to the Middle East, but people were talking about it. They felt like it was politically motivated. Let's be honest here. Everything a president does or a politician does is politically motivated. Heck, I'm politically motivated to make the world a better place. So I don't know. Let's be honest here. Pretty much everything that any leader does is politically motivated. Also, he started getting some criticism because the Qatar wanted to give the United States a $400 million plane, which honestly is absolutely beautiful. I personally, I don't really see an issue with it. You know, we need to be friends. We need to get along. You give gifts to friends. I see it as like a nice gesture. So I personally don't really have any issue with it. I think that, you know, if it's for the government, it's for government use. Sure. Why not? What's the big harm in it? I think we should all be getting along. We should be giving gifts to them. But I guess the problem is whenever America gives gifts to foreign nations, it's in the form of military weapons to kill innocent people. So maybe gifts other than that would be ideal, like a plane, a beautiful plane, which is $400 million. The gifts we usually send people are tens of, sometimes hundreds of billions of dollars for weaponry. So, I mean, I think it's fine. What else did we have here? We have the, also as of yesterday, kind of unfortunate news. Former President Joe Biden was diagnosed with a, quote, aggressive, quote, form of prostate cancer. So everyone was kind of like wishing him well, making sure he has a speedy recovery. But of course, you know, who knows how long this has been occurring for. Interesting that they just release it now. But who knows? And the only really other big thing that I'm going to get into before I talk about the thing that I really want to talk about is that Romania had a presidential election, and there was a centrist, Nicozar Don, probably pronouncing that wrong, so I apologize, Nicozar. He won the Romanian presidency. He defeated a hard-right pro-Trump candidate, George Simeon, in a, I don't know, was it like a redo or something? I don't really know all the details in regards to the Romanian presidential system, and I think we have our own issues here we got to fix, but I just felt like it was something to bring up. The thing that I really do want to focus on, and I feel is even of grave concern, is that we saw reports early in the week that Trump had cut ties with Benjamin Netanyahu, warmonger Yahoo, and was no longer talking to him. We also, about 2 weeks ago, saw Trump making comments about how we need to get aid to the people in Gaza, to the Palestinians. And I even made posts about it on Instagram. I talked about how this was great. This is great. Like, this is amazing. This is a great turn. We should be praising Trump for this. We should be praising him for, you know, being someone to stand up for the little man, to take care of the people that are getting absolutely massacred. I believe the death toll is somewhere around 52,000 at this point, you know, and I'm sure only a fraction of those are actual Hamas terrorists. Majority of them are innocent civilians, innocent women and children, which as a man is our duty to protect them. It's our duty to make sure that women and children are not being killed, are not being slaughtered, because when you do that, it indicates that you are trying to essentially erase an ethnic or essentially an ethnic group, or even just a group of a certain region. You don't even have to make it about ethnicity, but you're trying to eliminate people of a certain mindset, ideology, whatever it is. So I was very hopeful whenever I saw that being him saying that. Now, here's the issue, though, is as of, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, Trump released a 4-minute video basically saying that he stands with Netanyahu, that the Israel relation is strong, how there was never no severance in communication, how it was all just misinformation and bad news reporting. Of course, that report came out. It was multiple days before we heard Trump's, what would you call it, denunciation of it. So it really makes you wonder, what's actually going on. And I think what's even more startling is a few days before Trump came out and said that U.S.-Israeli relations were strong, we saw that Netanyahu signed over plans to get more feet on the ground in Gaza and to carry out, more, let's say, brutal strategy for removing people from the area. And Trump seems to have reversed course on this, and now he is back supporting Israel and the removing of the Palestinians. And I don't know what's going on. I mean, I think the confusion creates more fear within the population, within people, thinking that you have someone on your side who can actually do something about it, who can actually stop the killing of innocent people, and then only for him to reverse course, I think is just, it's something that will not be looked good upon him in the history books. I think for someone who cares so much about the way he is perceived within the general public, it would be wise of Trump to push back and to actually stand against Israel. And not even just, it's not about standing against Israel. I want to be clear about this too. It's not that I'm against Israel. I'm against the demolition and destruction of innocent people. And anytime you have war, innocent people die. So I want to be very clear that it's not like I'm anti-Israel. I'm anti their policies. I'm anti the war crimes that have been called out by the ICJ and the ICC, who have both came to the same conclusions that this ongoing blockade of over 60 days, I mean, at this point, I think it's probably around 80 days, is a war crime. You're starving the population. They can't get water. They can't get food. And to me, I think it's crimes against humanity. And Trump is in a position where he could do something about it. He is. And if he chooses not to, and he continues to go down this path, the halls of eternity will echo with the actions that he has taken, and they will not look kindly upon it. So if he is someone who cares about himself, which I think we all do at some extent, especially if you have to get to that level of power, then he should really take inventory and look at how history is going to view him, because this is not a way that he will want to be remembered. When the dust settles, whenever it clears, and we can all come together and realize that war crimes were committed here, the erasing of innocent women and children, when we start to realize what has actually been occurring in this region of the world, we will realize that evil is being perpetuated in this region. It seems to me like it's a mass sacrifice. It's a mass just bloodshed. And all you have to do is watch the videos that have come out of that region. The evidence, the mounting evidence of targeting ambulances, trying to get aid into the area. The evidence of more, what was the stat I just saw? More Palestinian journalists have been killed in this, let's say, operation since October 7th in Gaza. More Palestinian journalists have been killed in Gaza since October 7th compared to World War I and World War II, or what was it? I think it was any war since World War I. It was like the Vietnam War, World War I, World War II. And so you have to at some point realize that it is the amount of evidence. It is no longer accidental. It is on purpose. And it is disgusting to see that there are humans who are treating other humans in this way. And we need the leaders, specifically within America, the ones who control the entire financial unit, specifically in America, who call this shit out, who call a spade, who help people, who put the common man first. And so to whoever the mole is within who listens to this podcast, I want you to get into Trump's ear and tell him that he needs to really evaluate how history is going to view him. And I know he has this facade around him of attempting to manipulate every single news thing that comes out of either fake news or the people actually love him. But you have to find a way to get him to realize that people do not support this. People do not support this. It's AIPAC and it's the Israeli influence within the American government that has convinced him that the people want this, but people do not want this. And he has to realize that. And if he cares about, look, I mean, look, my goal in life is to care for the common man, to care for all my brothers, sisters, and children, to all my, moms, dads, cousins, girlfriend, wife, whatever it is. That's what motivates me. If it motivates him to think back on how the world is going to remember him, that's fine. But he has to realize that what he is doing, he will not be remembered fondly for standing by, for being a quote unquote in alliance with Israel. And you know what? I think this even goes to a deeper point, is I think we need to get away from this notion of being unilaterally in bed with any country at all, or unilaterally against any country at all, whether that's China, Russia, Brazil, maybe any of the Middle Eastern countries. I don't see it that we should be unilaterally, well, they're our allies, so we have to accept what they're doing. I believe that we need to individually judge every single action that occurs from a country and deem it, is this in the best interest of America? Should we support this action? And if we do, maybe we can send money. If it supports America, we can send money, we can send aid, we can send humanitarian aid, food, whatever it is. But 90% of the shit that we do in this country is support things that go against the will of the common man. We support wars, we support genocide, and it has to stop. We need leaders in this country who literally stand up and say enough is enough. You will no longer kill and spend my money to kill my brothers and sisters who I have never met, who if I had met them in a bar or I met them in a restaurant or I walked by on the street and we said something funny, that I could have had a beautiful interaction with them, and you have decided to rob me of that interaction using my money to kill them for your own idiotic gain. Until we have leaders in every single nation who realize that enough is enough, who stand up, who do the right thing, this will continue. And I'm sick and tired of it, because it is a disgrace to the world. It's a disgrace to humanity. It's a disgrace to God and nature's creation to allow this evil to perpetuate the policies and decisions and the killings that have occurred throughout the history of man. More specifically, modern history. And more specifically, right now. I think a lot of people get tied up in this idea. And I, I'm a spiritual person, so I do research on these books, these spiritual books, whether you have the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the Bible. So I do research. I'm not a scholar by any means, but one of the common themes that I notice within these scriptures is they talk about the future. They talk about the future and how in the future things will be beautiful, how in the future there will be paradise, in the future there will be no killing, in the future the lion will lay down with the lamb. And the problem is that these dates seem to keep getting moved further and further and further into the future. And I say, at some level, enough is enough. We're making it the present day. We are making it within the next 10 to 30 years. Fuck that. Make it now. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm getting passionate. I'm getting a little riled up by this because I'm getting super annoyed that no one else seems to realize the importance of this, the importance of the mindset around our needs and our desires to live in heaven now. And you have to cultivate that within yourself. And if you cultivate that within yourself, it'll cultivate it in your house. If you cultivate it in your house, it'll cultivate it within your community. If you cultivate it within your community, you will cultivate it within your state. If you cultivate it within your state, it cultivates it within the country. You cultivate it within your country, you cultivate it around the freaking world. So start cultivating peace and harmony within yourself, within your body, within your mind. And in order for you to do this, and I understand, look, it's not your fault. I want to be very clear. It's not your fault. You have not been given proper education in how to do this. It is your responsibility, though, to figure out how to cultivate that peace within your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, such that the entire world benefits because of it. And this is exactly why I am creating the Academy of Indigo Education. And all you have to do right now is go to the link in the bio, sign up for the newsletter so that you start getting the little tidbits of information. Because in the future, I will be creating, actually, see, there's the problem. In the future. Right now, I am actively creating the Academy of Indigo Education. And the people who are signed up for my newsletters will get freebies. They'll get first access to it. They will have the first opportunity to apply. They will have a higher chance of acceptance into the academy. And it is now your responsibility to start taking action. And the free and simple way you can do that is to sign up in my newsletter, get weekly emails about it. And then every single week I'm going live on Wednesdays. So even if you don't want to, show up for the lives, that's fine. At least you're doing something. You're taking some sort of action. You're sending the energy in some sort of way to say and communicate with God, with source, with spirit, with nature, that yes, I am open to doing something with my life. Maybe I'm not your teacher. Maybe my level of teaching, my way of teaching isn't for you. That's fine. But just by signing up for the newsletter, you are communicating with the universe that I agree fundamentally with the things that Clayton is saying. I fundamentally agree that we need to move towards a place of enlightenment, a place of peace, a place of prosperity. You are fundamentally saying yes to that reality. Now, whether you sign up for it, you get a couple of emails, you don't like it, you unsubscribe, that's fine. But you have at least communicated to the creator of everything that you desire that reality. Some of you will sign up, never read an email. Maybe you unsubscribe after the first one. Some of you will sign up and it will transform your life. And over the next year, you will learn and you will sign up for the Academy of Indigo Education and you will become powerful and you'll become a leader within your community. And you will be someone who joins with me in the physical layer so that we can recreate heaven on earth. Because I know, not all of you, but I know there are those of you who exist that are listening to this podcast who have the potential to take this to the extreme, to become a leader within your community and to become a leader that helps create world peace, who helps create the new heaven and new earth, who helps create the era that brings us into the next evolution of humanity. Because right now, I look around the world at the leaders, the quote unquote leaders, and I am not impressed. I am not impressed at all. There is nothing they do that gets me sitting and thinking, yeah, that's a good person. We're on the right track. Humanity is on the right track. In Congress, I think there's like 500 or 435 or 535 people in Congress. And I have maybe seen two, where I'm like, you know what, that person, I wish I lived in their district. I wish I lived in their state. Maybe two. And what that means is there's a tremendous opportunity for leaders in our world today. A tremendous opportunity. So sign up for the newsletter. You'll start getting some information. Some knowledge will start coming to you. You'll be notified. And we're going to create world peace. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. The question is how quickly? And the answer to that is how quickly are you going to take action? Because I cannot do this alone. I can only be a North Star for you to take action. So now if you decide to take action or not, I don't know. But if you don't decide to take action and I find out, then we're going to have a conversation about it whenever I see you in the 6th dimension.